Hi everybody, this is Bernard Ashwanden from Publishing Smarter. In this video, I'm going to show you how to apply conditional text in FrameMaker and then take that conditional content and publish it to PDF, but also to dynamic HTML5, in which you can automatically toggle between the conditions that are applied, and your audience gets to decide what the content is that they read. Nothing fancy here. I'm just going to choose File, New, and create a standard document. When prompted, click at the top on Portrait. Just to keep a level playing field, in the top right, click where it reads Authoring, or whatever the interface is that happens to be displayed. If your display is something other than authoring, go ahead and click on Authoring, just to be consistent with what I have. And even if yours reads Authoring, click the drop down one more time and reset the workspace so that we all have the exact same configuration. When prompted, click OK. Again, to make sure that we start with a nice basic default, I'm going to ask you to click in your document and add a bit of text. We know people are working with Microsoft Word, so go ahead and put that in as a title. When done, press Enter to create a new line. Add in a bit more content as seen here. Then again, press Enter. Then I'll ask you to type in this one additional paragraph. Click in the words Working with Microsoft Word so that we can apply the paragraph tag for a title. Once done, in the paragraph catalog, we'll click Title. If you don't see it, just scroll down a bit. The catalog contains an alphabetical list of all of the available tags. Once applied, the title is centered, set up in bold, and has some additional space below. Next, let's go and save the file. We'll save it as a FrameMaker document. I have a folder that I created previously that I'm going to save to, but you can save anywhere, even the desktop. And when prompted, name it Author Notes. Once done, click Save. That's the basics of your FrameMaker file. At this point, you could save it as a PDF. The resulting PDF document is a pretty plain looking document without a lot of extra function. The same can be said for the default responsive HTML5 output. So let's go back, click at the end of the title Working with Microsoft Word, and add a little more text in order to showcase some of the functions that are available inside FrameMaker 2015. At the end of the text, I just type in Adobe FrameMaker. Next, I'll click at the end of the word Tools. I'll add in a little more text, and then click at the end of the word Word. Then I'll add in the word FrameMaker, which wraps around to the next line. Lastly, I'll click at the end of the content and add one more paragraph by pressing Enter. So there you have it. I typed in with FrameMaker you can create audience-specific info. This, by the way, is one of the big differentiators between FrameMaker and other tools that authors might use. I now have a lot of text that is specific either to FrameMaker or to Microsoft Word. This gives me the benefit of having a single document in which I can make updates. But if I publish it exactly as is, you're going to see a bit of everything. So, next step is to click Special. FrameMaker supports a function called conditional text. And then I'll guide you through how to create conditional tags. Normally you wouldn't have to do this if your template was already set up, but I want you to see from scratch how you can do this. A new dialog opens at the bottom of the screen, and I can go in and create a new tag. To define the new tag, I'll highlight the default name. I'll name the first one Adobe. I can change the appearance and define the color as red. Then I'll go ahead and click Create. I'll create one more format for Microsoft. And I'll go back to the drop down and change the color for Microsoft to be blue. Then I'll click on Create. That's how you would go in and create these two tags. In a template, that would already be done for you. So let's instead go in and apply and see what happens when we set up content to be Microsoft or Adobe specific. I'll start in the title and just highlight Microsoft Word. Once selected, I'll navigate down into the tab at the bottom and select Microsoft in order to flag this as conditional specifically when somebody is viewing content related to Microsoft Word. Once selected, I click Apply. Next, in the title, I'll highlight the phrase Adobe FrameMaker. Once done, I'll toggle the check mark under State for Adobe to the On position. And one last time, I'll click Apply. To show what this looks like, I'll click at the beginning of the title. As far as the author is concerned, it's just a matter of highlighting a couple of words, turning on a checkbox, and applying it. Now I'll go in and save the file. I'll just create a PDF so that we can see what this would appear as in print. My PDF job options are set to use standard and to automatically view the generated PDF in Acrobat. So I'll go ahead and click Set. FrameMaker takes a moment to create the PDF. Acrobat launches, and I can see the title Working with Microsoft Word Adobe FrameMaker, Microsoft Word in blue, Adobe FrameMaker in red. This is an exact representation of what I had in the source. Let's close this and go back over to FrameMaker. In FrameMaker, I'm going to change what is showing and hiding so that only Microsoft or only Adobe content displays. Take a look at the dialog. In it, I can show all, I can show as per condition. So for example, I could move Adobe from show to hide, and down near the bottom, you'll see a check mark that reads Show Condition Indicators. That condition indicator is based on the blue and the red that I said earlier. For now, I'm going to go in and hide the Adobe content. Once I've double-clicked and I've set up what's to show and what is to hide, I click Apply. Showcasing the power of Adobe FrameMaker, the actual words Adobe FrameMaker, which were in red, are hidden and replaced by a marker. Then I can go in and I can save the file as a PDF. I'll go ahead and save it and replace the existing version of the author notes. This time, I only see the title Working with Microsoft Word. And again, the blue context on Microsoft Word, which is the FrameMaker conditional indicator, could have been deactivated inside FrameMaker, but I wanted you to see really clearly exactly what this might look like in the PDF environment. The words Adobe FrameMaker have been completely hidden away, and as far as the audience is concerned who's reading this, all they're seeing is the Microsoft Word version. The drawback, of course, is that then I would need to set the conditions for FrameMaker and recreate my PDF document so that I have two versions of the same material. Let's empower the user a little more. I'll go in and reset FrameMaker to show all. Then I click Apply. Then I'll save the document because I've gone in and made a couple of different changes. This time I'm showing Microsoft Word in blue, Adobe FrameMaker in red, but instead of creating a PDF, I'll go in under File and I'll click Publish. This opens a dialog in the bottom right of the screen for Publish, and you can go in and click the pop-up in order to make modifications to the default settings. To get started, choose Edit. Because I'm showing you how to do this completely from scratch, this dialog needs some configuration. Otherwise, previously, I would have just opened up and applied an existing output configuration. Here though, let's go and set up the Publish settings. This is where the power kicks in. Choose Use Dynamic Content Filter in the output. In the dialog, you can change the title that's going to display in the output. I'll type in the word Software. Once that's done, I'll click to add a new group, the first icon under Define. My software is available from multiple vendors, so I type Vendor. Next, in the Define section, I'll click Add Criteria, the second icon. The available tags are a list of the different conditions that exist in the file. That's why you see Adobe, Microsoft, and the default comment that was in there. The first option I'll select is Adobe, and then click OK. That adds Adobe as a vendor, but I've got one more piece of criteria that I want to specify, so I'll click that second icon again. The available tags no longer include Adobe because previously I set that one up, so this time I'll choose Microsoft. After selecting it, I click OK. I'll also make the judgment call that when it comes to a vendor, I don't want people to be able to select both Adobe and Microsoft, so I'm going to deactivate down at the bottom the Allow Multiple Selection in a Group. I'll click Save, then I'll click Save As. That lets me store the document so that later on, any user can come along and in the Publish, load these settings. I'll also name it a little more representative of its function. And when done, I click Save. Had this already been done earlier, and then I was just working as an author, I could have gone in, clicked the pop-up for the settings file, selected conditional content, and be done with it. Instead, the developer had to make sure that the settings file was properly configured, that the template was set up with the conditions in it, and now that all of that is in place, the life of the author is pretty easy. The author just has to highlight content like Microsoft Word or Adobe FrameMaker, apply conditions, load a settings file, and when ready, double-click Responsive HTML5. I literally wait just a couple of seconds, and when the conversion is done, I click View Output. Unlike the PDF document, the title reads Working with Microsoft Word Adobe FrameMaker, and the text that's up there does not have the blue or the red. Running down the side, I have a filter icon, and that's what I'm going to click next. Now the power is in the hands of the audience. In Responsive HTML5, they can come along and just click under Vendor and choose Adobe. A quick click by the reader and the title changes to only display Working with Adobe FrameMaker. Choosing Microsoft resets the title to read Working with Microsoft Word, and at the top there's a reset icon, which then deactivates any vendor selection and changes the title back to Working with Microsoft Word Adobe FrameMaker. Imagine now working as an author. You go through, you create your content, you highlight words, and you apply Microsoft or Adobe. You have a single document in which you see blue content that represents all Microsoft Office material, and you have red content that represents all Adobe FrameMaker content. As the author, all you've done is typed, selected text, and applied a condition. Then you go to Publish. A few seconds later, you've got Responsive HTML5 based on someone else's configuration, and you just view Output. As an author, you invest a little bit of time making sure that you configure all of your content with the appropriate conditions. You create your responsive HTML5 based on a predefined style sheet, and now your audience can come along and click on the filter. Now your audience gets to decide. They can click Microsoft, and what they see is the text limited to just Microsoft. Of course, they can also click on Adobe, where they see the title, Working with Adobe FrameMaker, and a paragraph at the very end that states, with FrameMaker, you can create audience-specific info.